Hello listeners, welcome to At the Heart of It, a podcast by ROXY. This podcast celebrates the stories of women in surf, snow and everything in between. Join us as our athletes, friends of the brand and incredible women share their inspiring stories. Get ready to be motivated and stay tuned for empowering conversations and uplifting tales that will leave you inspired. Let's dive into the world of remarkable women together.
Hey, Shauna.
Hi, Tessa.
We've got something very exciting to share today.
Yeah, the first ROXY podcast episode, and it's with some very special people to celebrate International Women's Day month, year.
Yeah, you know it. It's mostly Olympians, huh?
Yep, we have Torah Bright and her sister Rowena, both Olympians.
And we have the queen, Chloe Kim.
And we have Olympic qualifier Vahine Fierro and her mom, which is a really sweet chat.
So settle in and enjoy episode 1 of At the Heart of It.
Hi, everybody. My name is Torah Bright. I am a professional snowboarder. I have been professional with ROXY for 20 plus years, a couple Olympic medals, a ton of snowboarding accolades, but now I am mum and it is my favorite job yet, and juggling all of life is incredible. And I want to introduce my sister Rowena, who actually has given me the inspiration to be doing what I'm doing. She has done it all before me. I'm finding it hard to find words to describe just how impactful she has been on my life. The inspiration that you are to me, Rowena, is incredible. And Rowena is an artist and a mother. And how I see you, Rowena, is that your role in life right now is to make everything around you just beautiful. And Rowena also is an Olympic ski racer. And this is kind of where our journey starts. Rowena inspiring me into my journey to be a snowboarder and be the best I could. And you were really the first person who inspired me and thought it was even possible to go to the Olympics. So, yeah, Rowena, welcome.
Guys, thanks for having me, Torah. I was really honored when you could have picked all these other champions in their sport around the world that you are friends with and that have inspired you and mentored, and then you picked little old me. It's actually funny as we reminisce, right, how it all started. Like, I think about how we grew up on a sheep farm in Australia. Then from that, we had these dreams and we did them. And I look back sometimes and I literally don't know how. And being this age as a mother of 3 boys myself, you 2 boys, it's been so fun. We're on the phone all the time, I feel like lately, just unpacking our past, unpacking the good, the bad, the stuff that shaped us. But I think of you, so many people, like I can't even tell you how many people come up to me and they're like, oh, was that so hard? Like, I mean, you went to the Olympics, but you know, my goal was really to get an Olympic gold medal. I mean, you don't go to lose, you go to win, you know? And they're like, was that so hard? Because your sister did it. Like, she actually did it. And I always
man, we're getting into the dirty stuff first. All right. I'm like,
right away. Yeah. It's not like there was ever any jealousy that, oh, she got a gold medal, she got my dream, I didn't get that. It was like this.
Can I share a little bit of that? So everybody listening, and Rowena, I want you to tell the story. I'm not going to prompt you. I want you to tell the story. But everybody, Rowena went to the Olympics in 2002 in combined, right?
Yeah, downhill ski racing, slalom and downhill together.
Yeah, so technical and speed, amazing. And Rowena came last place.
I know. I'm super proud of my journey now. So brutal.
But seriously, it is the most incredible story. So Rowena, let's just dive into it. And yeah, show your feelings on that amazing triumph, but yet absolute defeating.
So brutal.
Because really, it all started on the sheep farm with you watching the Olympics at 4 years old, right?
That's what I was going to say. We probably have to go way, way back. The dream began when I was like a little 4-year-old. I remember watching the 1984 Summer Olympic Games. I was with my mom in the kitchen. She had a TV on wheels, like that you could move it around with an extension cord. So she was in the kitchen cooking. Like, she was this mom back then. By the way, we probably have to mention this a little bit to show where we came from. We were raised on a sheep farm. We had a goat that she milked goat's milk for us. We had this massive vegetable garden that we just go out and pick snow peas and gooseberries. I remember doing all of this. She ground her own wheat to make her own bread, and she made sourdough bread. She was making kombucha. She was making the super greens, sprouting all those alfalfas. But now that I'm an adult raising kids and doing it all, I look back and I'm like, how did they do that? But we look back, and the one thing that they were so good at, both of them, but particularly mom, like, I will never forget, I looked up to her and I was watching the 1984 Olympics and I said, Mom, I want to do that. And she said, okay, let's do it. There wasn't any like, ooh, well, it's the Olympics, honey, and like only like 0.001% even, could do that. Like, it was never that for anything that any of us ever wanted to do. It was always like,
Never remember being told no, or
too
it's too
hard.
expensive or whatever, too hard.
Yeah.
It was always, when there's a will, there's a way. And if you're going to do it, you do it to the best of your ability. You magnify your talents.
I look back and I'm like only 4, and I'm like, did I have this dream because I wanted to make my mom happy because that made her happy watching the Olympics? Or did I have this dream because I still don't know to this day, but it was very real and it was very mine, and I wanted it so bad, and I had like a death grip on it no matter what. Like, nothing, was coming in the way. But I look back at, how they taught us, and even the sport, like, it was never about being the best in a sport or being the best. It was literally, my mom always repeated to us how this is your vehicle to self-mastery, and that's why we do it. This is for you to find out who you are, what you're made of, and it's like a spiritual journey, really. That's how we looked at it. She's like, we're here to help people. We're here to inspire people. We're here to develop our talents, to work hard. And it was always like that. It was never about winning or being the best. It was about the best you can be. But our mom, in an amazing way, she always thought we could be the best ever, like Olympic gold medalists, What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, why you are my inspiration, my role model, my best friend, my everything. You were living all of this before I was even 10.
Yeah.
You were traveling the world at 12 years old, doing the Europa Cup circuits, then onto the FIS. By this time, like, I had found snowboarding.
Yeah.
And I mean, you already did the hard road, right? You had already
kind of I did the unknown.
You did the unknown.
Yeah. And then you, and actually.
And as such a young kid, watching you and hearing mum from the sidelines, like, she wasn't there with you. She was looking after the 4 other kids. You were off traveling the world doing your thing. Sometimes I was saying goodbye to you at the airport, just thinking that, where is she going? Like, she's going nowhere. And then you'd turn up with treaties in your bag for me, and like, you were just the best thing ever. Getting back to like why you are the inspiration, it's at every step of the way. Unconsciously, I was watching you literally live the life that then I didn't even know I was going to be on, because I was the 4th kid. I was just kind of like, like, I skied and there wasn't enough money for me to do ski racing, because Rowena was going to the Olympics and going to win a gold medal to, bring God to the world. Like,
totally. Talk about heavy mantle on my head, man. No.
Yeah.
You were just along for the ride.
I was along for the ride. I just remember the year I started snowboarding was when mum's like, oh, I don't know whether we can do season tickets this year. And I was like, whatever, I'm okay. I like cross-country skiing better anyway. That day that I told mum that, my brother, his mate, broke his wrist or something and couldn't do the interschools teams event for snowboarding. So, Mum, I don't know, she never said no. He said,
Yeah.
can I learn to snowboard and fill in for my friend? And Mum said yes. And then we learned to snowboard that day, and the rest is history.
It's so crazy how life moves, right? How you were not being demanding or needy as a child. You're just trying to make everything easier for everyone. And then snowboarding comes to you in this way.
I think it was that very next year that we started. I think we started 97 and then 98 was the first Olympics. But I didn't know anything existed outside of Front Valley and Thredbo with our crew and the Coca-Cola Classic and the Sprite sessions. I didn't know anything existed.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I don't think we really watched TV, and I hadn't even been to a movie in a cinema, until I don't know how long. But we didn't know, maybe there's a filming world in snowboarding at that time that we didn't know about. But yeah, we had no idea. And then you just were good at this, loved it, started winning stuff. I'll never forget the first time you got the ROXY package sponsored by ROXY.
Me neither. Me neither. You know what shocked me first though?
What?
Because it was a summer package. Or maybe it was my first summer package, because I might have got some outerwear, but like there was a triangle bikini in the package.
Totally.
And I was like, boom, Mum's not going to let me wear this. I'm going to hide it. She totally let me wear it.
I know.
Because she didn't have to buy it, probably.
Totally. And I remember, people always like, oh, you're jealous of Torah. I was like, yeah, I was jealous of that first ROXY package. Back to that first Olympic Games. So anyway, I'm on my path, thinking ski racing's awesome. You're on your path. When you hear of people's Olympic journeys, I mean, I'm not alone. It is literally like this. And I think by the time 18 came around, if anyone knew it was still my goal, they would have just laughed. Well, I think they did. Yeah, I was so far out of reach of that goal, like it wasn't even funny. I won't go into all the miracles and all the stories, but basically just like deciding again. I remember this feeling often in my life with just even now my goals and things that seem impossible. And I'm just reminded, no, it just starts with a decision. You don't have to know the how. You don't have to know like anything. It's really just about the who in some cases. And in my case, it was about the who. A coach found me who was willing to coach for nothing. And basically he got me back up to a point where I'd be competitive again. And I couldn't have done that without him. Let's see. Yeah, it was my last chance to qualify for this 2002 Olympics. And I had been off snow for 8 weeks and in pain and just not doing very well. But I did go to the World Championships, and this is another defining moment. I'll never forget, like I wasn't doing very well because I was in pain. I hadn't skied a lot. I was slow, and my coach just told me to my face, he's like, you're embarrassing yourself. Like, this is not good. It's not good for your sponsors. It'd be better to say I'm injured and pull out. But he didn't understand how important this Olympics was to me, with this heavy weight on my head. And so I looked at him in the eyes and I just said, I don't care what you say. I'm going to these Olympics no matter what. And then after I said it, I was like, whoa, where did that come from? Because like, it didn't seem possible. And then the very next day, we're in St. Anton. The weather is crazy. It's dumping snow. The conditions are crazy. It's like powder mixed with ice, mixed with broken through holes in the course, like just so bad. And basically what I had to do to qualify for the Olympics was get top 15 in this combined event. That's what I had to do. There was no other way after this. And I didn't ski great, but everyone was crashing everywhere because of the conditions. And all I had to do was stand up. And I remember my coach yelling from the sidelines, stand up, just stand up, as I'm skiing down, I could hear him. Oh. And so I finished and I came 14th and qualified for the Olympics. And so then to actually get to the Olympics and then come last, I was kind of like, huh? What?
See, folks, this is why she is my mentor, my inspiration. So many learned lessons, but you never give up. For you, Ro, like you made it to the Olympics and you'll be able to, I guess I'll say from my viewpoint first, like I'm at the bottom. We're finally at the Olympics in Salt Lake City, Utah. And was it the first run?
Yeah,
that you straddled a gate?
Yeah, it was so sad. So there's 3 runs to the event. Like you guys had just spent, I think Mum had put all the tickets on credit cards. My dad had probably seen me race once in my entire life because he works so hard. Yeah, you guys are all at the bottom and there's 3 runs, and I came out of the start in the first one, just going gung-ho, had a great split in the first start, skiing my best. And then I went 2 straight at a gate and it went through my legs, which is called a straddle in ski racing, which means you are immediately disqualified. And usually, like, that's just it. You see people go to the side of the course, they pull out, they cry, you know.
Because they're timed events, so a mistake, like you're done.
Yeah.
You straddle a gate, you're done.
And for some reason, this is what my head went, okay, I'm done. But then I decided to just walk up and do the gate correctly, because if you do it correctly, you're not disqualified and you can keep going. I don't know why I did that in the split second, but I think my mind went to you all at the bottom. And so I came through the finish, and I've got all these beautiful photos of me coming through the finish, and my arms are in the air like this. Even now, I'm like, why did I do that? That was horrible. And I had tears in my goggles, of course, like my lifelong dream just shattered. I look back at that now. I just look at the lessons to teach my kids. So I went the wrong way. I had this dream, this course. I went the wrong way. Just because you go the wrong way, it doesn't mean you just give up. You get yourself back up, you walk back up, you might have to change directions. You just keep going and you finish what you started. I just feel like that's been something special to teach my kids. I can't even begin to talk about how many times I've needed to course correct in my life as I've gained new information, or as I've realized this dream is, you know, it needs to change.
I just think it's beautiful, really, all of it, because now you're raising 3 boys, you know, what valuable lessons. And also subconsciously, I would have understood that, you know, and maybe that's why I went on after my 2006 Olympics experience, to just not really be fazed by it. It's okay, I'll go on, because what happened there, guys, was I was making history. I was doing things girls had done before. And I don't know, on that day, the judges just didn't seem to understand it. And later I was told that they didn't know what I was doing. And then every other coach was like, whoa, Torah, don't worry, you're going to win every other event. And I did. I went on to win every other event straight for pretty much 4 years, until the next Olympics, where I won a gold medal. And living on the sidelines and having all that intimate information from you, Rowena, I swear it just, like, it was there. It was already lessons learned. And I don't know, especially you coming across the line like victorious, even though it was the worst thing ever. You did that so that you could continue to do the other 2 runs, so that the family could be there and watch you and reaching that goal that you had set. It's almost like this impression left on me that then gave me the innate wisdom, in a way, to just move through my life and my athlete journey as I did. And it's literally all because of the life you lived before me.
I don't know about all because of, but I do think that I wanted to actually bring that up. I do think that you know, whether it was things that you saw being along in my journey, or you were just born like this, but there is some kind of innate wisdom in you that I've watched. It's been really cool to be older and then watching you move through everything, and then be able to actually teach my kids the differences and the things I've learned. I know fully now, as I look at my journey back then, even though, you know, I did it, I got to the Olympics, part of the goal was done. I look back at, like I said, the death grip on the dream that I had, and how hard I made it, because it was not easy, let's just put it that way. And probably not as joyful as it could have been, because it was just like this obsession. And I look at you and how you move through your journey, and I tell my kids all the time, and everyone, like, either you were born like it or it's just your spirit. I don't know, but I've learned so much from you, because that is what you had. You just had this innate knowing, and you didn't have to have this crazed obsession, because you're just kind of like, if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. If it doesn't happen now, it'll happen later. I'm just going to keep doing me and do my best. I can't control everyone. Like that Olympics where you got judged 5th and you should have been judged 1st, that was so hard for me. Like,
on the podium anyway.
Whatever.
But thanks, you
Sorry,
like me.
I'm the sister. I could say whatever. It was No, but like that was just so hard for me. I mean, of course, we're disappointed, but he just kept going. And I feel like all the things that have happened to you in your life that have brought you down, that you've had, like, we need to talk about one thing for. Don't let us forget to talk about the lead up to the 2010 Olympics, because
Yeah.
that's like everything. It's huge.
Well, let's talk about death grips, which I had this expectation. So yeah, the worst part in my career aligns with yours because it was a similar energy
Yes,
almost.
the energy, exactly.
Yeah.
But what I think you figured out is that you'd mastered the energy of wanting something, but then letting it go, just out there into the unknown and just living in joy and fun. I always remember actually even
So,
being
Ro, can I tell you my like mantra back then? I used to say it in interviews all the time.
Yes.
Mary Poppins.
Yes.
In every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. You find the fun and snap, the job's a game. Do, 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 do. Like that was me. Everything had to be fun or I just couldn't do it. It was too much of a chore.
Yeah, and you figured that out. And I think you were born that way because we weren't raised that way. I mean,
Yeah.
farmers, And so that is something that I've loved and admired about you and been trying to grow myself into, because what you were so good at is just living in the present. It's so much easier to live like that.
Yeah, it is really. And something I used to do too before I would drop in, because obviously when you're at that level, there's a lot of expectations on an athlete. The whole of Australia wanted me to win a gold medal. Apparently I was going to win a gold medal. Like I needed to win a gold medal for my mother too and the family. And
yeah, just because I failed, now you have to.
Yeah, because Roy failed, I had to pick up the slack. No.
kind of true.
But yeah, you just like, I remember I would just wait till a smile came to my face, till I had created and felt that joy in my body before I would drop in, because then I know I'm in a place of creation. I know that I'm connected to everything that I'd been working on for years, that it's all muscle memory. It takes the effort, it takes the trying out, because it's all done.
Yes.
It's done.
Yes. Oh, I love this. I love you. If there's a message for anyone listening, I feel like it's intertwined in your story leading up to the 2010 Olympics.
Yeah.
Because Torah and I have been working so hard.
It takes applied effort. Like it doesn't just come, it's breaking the habit of being yourself.
Totally.
That's ideally what it is, because we're like conditioned and life happens to us, and it is breaking how you've learned to do things and just creating a new path.
Yeah.
And I did that through visualization pretty much in leading up to the 2010 Olympics.
Yeah. Maybe walk everyone through just what got you to a place where, because I remember flying out to Utah, you're in a dark room in bed and you just.
That's right. You brought the babies out to me because you knew they made me happy and joyful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you couldn't do anything, and you were playing, if I remember, these healing meditations, these visualization meditations. It was Dr. Joe Dispenza's stuff, if I remember. And that was how many years ago now? 14 years ago now?
Yeah. So 2010, in the lead up, I was tested. Like I had been the best for years. And yeah, 2010 comes around. I'm just falling and I'm really hurting myself. I had my first knockout. So I had a concussion, and I've had a history of concussions, and I had like 3 consecutive leading up into the 2010 Olympics where I surrendered to the unknown. And I did everything I possibly could to give myself the best chance to turn up at the 2010 Olympics, to give it my best go, to deliver a gold medal, because I was the best. And I wanted it for my family. I wanted it for Australia. And I wanted it for myself, because I was working hard, It was a goal I had set. It was something that wasn't far-fetched, but I changed my energy. And what happened was, when I was sitting in rooms, in my bedroom for 2 weeks straight, trying to limit any outside stimulation so my brain could heal, I was taught visualization, essentially. I was visualizing the future I wanted. And I was visualizing myself stepping up on the podium. And for a while there, when I'd step up on the podium, it wasn't my name being called.
Wow.
So I had to, it was about repetition.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it to a point where I visualized, I heard my name. I literally was exploding with excitement
Mm-hmm.
that I was standing on top of the podium. And then I saw it in color. And I got it to the point where I just knew that that was almost my future.
Mm.
And, you know, looking back, I never felt that. It was already, I was feeling all the emotions, like the future was already set in track.
Mm-hmm.
Coming then, fast forward, I jumped on the plane for the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver in the position where I was like, well, I'll go and see all the docs. If I'm cleared, great. I've been cleared twice before and I wasn't okay. That's why I hit my head again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to listen to myself. And if I am okay, I will ride. So anyway, I was cleared by the doctors and I get up to, was it Cyprus where the event was? And I took it very easy in training, just like literally just going, well, okay, if I feel good, I'll feel good. And pipe was pretty bad. I don't know. I'd just done so much prep that I wasn't fazed by anything. But fast forward, I felt good to compete. I believe I qualified first into the
I think
finals.
you did.
And we're like, bum, 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 bum. Yes. I dropped last because they reversed the order. And I fall on my switch backside 720 because what happened in training was my body naturally was progressing. I was over rotating. I was doing switch backside 900s. And then I'm not coming out the right way for the next trick. And it's just not what I wanted. That's wonderful news if it wasn't happening in the middle of an event. So anyway, I fell that first run. And then what happens is they reversed the order again. Because I was last, I dropped first. So nobody dropped in between me. And I remember getting up to the top where my wax techs, all the other competitors, my brother who was my coach, all the other coaches, and like they were just like didn't know how to act around me. They was like real stiff, and like, you know, Benny's eyes were wide and red, and I'm like, oh, and
I remember feeling like, oh man, all that energy that you just like blocked out because all the anxiety that everyone was feeling.
Dude, call it like innocent naivety. I don't know what it was, but I was just like giggling at it. You know, it was a big thing. It was my life's career. But I was just in this experience where it didn't faze me. And then I buckle in. Sorry?
You were living in the present.
That's it. I was in the present. Thank you. You know, the flow state, whatever you want to call it, whatever you name it.
You're not in the future, not in the past, just the present. Yeah.
Just right then and there. And I was observing, I was very well aware of everybody's reactions and energies to me. So I was in the present.
Exactly. And you're in the unknown when you're in the present. So there's no expectations.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Having the expectations, you know?
Yeah.
It kills relationships too. It's like literally the key to life.
Just right now, I am relearning this in my time in life right now, being married for nearly 9 years, having 2 little boys. It is the key to life.
Yeah.
Because whenever you force it, it's just not working, you know?
Yeah.
And so anyway, I drop in. I'm getting ready to drop in for my last run. There's only 2 runs in the Olympics. This is now or never. And my brother's eyes are like red and wide. I just remember he goes, I have supreme confidence in you. And that's all he said to me. And we knocked and dropped in. And I still, to this day, it was like my body just did. And I won an Olympic gold medal. And my family was there to watch all of that.
I'll never forget the relief, truthfully, just because.
Relief is what I felt too. Absolutely.
The relief of like you well deserved it beyond. Like that was not, it wasn't like a miracle or luck or any of that. And also I think for me, which it sounds crazy because you're you and I'm me and it doesn't matter, but it was literally just like, this is how I felt. It is done. Even though it's your Olympic gold medal, for some reason, I just felt like,
yes, I did it for both of us, man. So now in the family, we got first and last.
And truthfully, like, okay, this is the other crazy thing that I think that anyone who's feeling like they're on the struggle bus with their dream, whatever they're doing, whatever it is, whether you do it or you don't, the lessons that you learn are crazy.
The destination almost doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's the journey that that has shaped us and taught us everything.
Think about us coming from a little town in Cooma, Australia. I didn't know anyone who'd ever been to the Olympics, but back then, like, I knew it was possible, obviously, because I saw it on TV, but I never met anyone or known anyone. Even my lost dreams or whatever, and even all your trauma that came with your journey, truthfully, to your health. Would you do a different path? Maybe, I don't know, but like all of it, I'm so grateful for all of it.
No matter what, you know, in sporting life, in normal life, it's all collateral beauty along the way. And we have to go through these hard things because it forces us to grow and have a deeper understanding. And I think that's what life's about. What are we here for otherwise? We're here to level up. We're here to evolve. We're here to pass on this wisdom. We're here to make imprints on people that change them for the better. Our children, like these younger generations, that's what it's all about. I'm still like, as years go on, I'm still connecting the dots as life goes on, and, you know, people want to stop aging and whatnot, but I'm like, growing older is the most incredible thing to me. I love it. The journey, the lessons, it's the greatest.
And I guess like the message leaving everyone, like, whatever you're doing, like, do it, keep doing it, have a dream, like, make a big dream, like, go hard, like, go really hard, because you really are changing the world by living your dream. Because even that one person who's kind of witnessing you and what you do, I think you still learn more by being around that person. I don't know, that's all we can do. We're one human. But
and I'll never forget, Ro, I was at your place. I was like, you know, recovering from yet another concussion, and, you know, that's a whole different story, but maybe this is the last thing we leave people with. But you handed me a cup and my meds and my pills to take, and the cup said, one day at a time.
yeah.
And literally, when you're in it and everything's too hard, like, one day at a time, yes, but I'm learning with children, it's 1 hour at a time. And you have the choice every minute, every second of every day to change the energy that you are exuding. Yeah.
But that mug, Torah, that you talk about, I still have it at my home. I'll definitely pull it out when I need it and sip my drink.
Oh my gosh. Rowena, I feel like we could just keep talking and talking and talking, and we have so many stories, but gosh, guys, like, this was about Rowena to share why she is my inspiration and like my mentor because of a few, you know, as you've heard, a few stories shared. Oh, Rowena, thank you so much. And I hope that people connect to your story, our intertwined story. You have helped shape me, build me, get me through so much. And thank you for joining our fireside chat.
Hi everyone, my name is Chloe Kim and I am a professional snowboarder on the ROXY team.
Who are the women, professional or not, who have shaped you into the person and athlete you are today?
I'm always going to say my mom because she's just always been there. She's such a force, such a strong woman. And I feel like growing up, I always looked up to her. I always wanted to be just like my mom. She just always was able to overcome such difficult moments with so much grace. That was what I needed to become the person I am today, you know, somebody who always went above and beyond with the biggest smile on her face. She always put us first, you know, me and my sisters first. She dropped everything to support me. And now she travels with me, makes me yummy food. You know, she's just always that warm person in my life that I can rely on. And she's also my best friend, you know, whenever we travel, we're always going shopping together, going out for brunch together. And it's just, I'm so fortunate to have her in my life because I truly don't know what would have happened to me if I didn't have her as a mom.
Can you think of a specific memory of where that influence happened, or something that maybe it's almost like that lesson that she does that you've kind of taken with you?
I mean, I think this is kind of a funny, like, traumatizing story for me at the time because I was so little and I had no idea what was happening. When I want to say 5, we went to Japan. This is when we all first learned how to snowboard. You know, we're all a year in and we went to Japan. And The snow there, crazy. We went to snowboard for fun because everyone's like, Japan is so great. And we just thought, cool, that's great. So we'll go. It snowed so much. And I was what, maybe 3'2" at the time, tiny. And it definitely snowed well over that, like we're talking 4 or 5 feet at least. And we're going down this hill. Mind you, I started in Mountain High, California. We never had, a POW day for me was like covered my board a little bit, a few inches, but nothing like this. And we're like trying to make our way down because we didn't realize, how bad it was. And so we go down because we see the lodge. So like, let's just go down this way. It'll be fast, quickest way there. I go, or my dad goes first, disappears. I can't see him anymore. And I just saw him and now he's gone. It's just like a cloud of snow. He's gone. I was like, oh my God. And so I went next. My mom was like, oh, he's fine. Like, you got this. So I go down. And next thing you know, I just remember like being in a snow cave of some sort, not seeing anything around me. It's just snow. I think I'm going to die. I'm suffocating. And I'm crying, screaming, panicking because I think I'm going to die. And now I'm like, my dad is officially dead. Like, there's no way he's okay, right? And then my mom is like, Chloe. We're all a little panicked at this point. She takes her board off and she's like marching through the snow. And my mom essentially rolled me down the mountain. She would pick me up out of the snow, throw me a couple feet, and then I'd fall again. And then she'd come back down, throw me a couple more feet, like fully rolled me down this mountain. Because she was the last man standing, my dad was gone. I just remember that moment where she was like my angel. She saved my life. And after that, I was like, I can fully rely on you. I trusted her so much after that moment because she really did all of that. And she's my mom, so she should. But I just think like when that happened, it was kind of cool to see her do that as my mom as opposed to my dad, who typically would have taken that role. And then I feel like in a weird way that made me realize that, women are the most powerful beings on the planet because my mom was so level-headed the whole time. And it ended up being fine. And my dad came down and he was a mess. He was like, oh my God, like, let's not go down there. And I also think, that was like a funny, young, long time ago example. But I think even in my everyday life, if something's wrong, I always call my mom because I just know she always comes with the best guidance and the best advice. And it's almost, her approach is always like seemingly neutral with the twist of like, what's the right thing to do, and always allows me to make that decision. But she'll kind of just tell me the reality of things and guide me to make the right choice. Even when I was deciding to take time off to go to college, because I didn't know if I wanted to do that yet. And my dad is like, go to college, very parental and just wants me to go to college, especially because I got into a good school. And my mom always would just be like, college is really good for you, but you're also incredibly successful right now at your age. So I understand if you don't want to go. But really gave me the pros and cons of both. And so I was able to make that decision on my own. It always made such a big difference in the way I viewed life.
3 things she has taught you.
She's taught me to remove myself, emotionally from situations and come from a more logical approach before I decide what my move is. Another thing she's taught me is just how to love. She gives her all to everybody in her life. Like, she will do anything for everybody. She always puts herself last, which is something I don't like about her sometimes. Sometimes I wish she would just be selfish and put herself first. But, she always comes last, especially when it comes to family. And then I would say the third is, I just think, everything I've said already about her says enough, encompasses her entire persona. She really is just the most loving, kind, funny, energetic, driven person I've known.
You're now 23 years old. You've made history numerous times and you've had achievements beyond belief, but not without struggle. What have you learned in yourself these 23 years?
I think I've learned a lot about myself recently, especially this past season, because I really noticed a change in who I was coming back to snow. I think the theme here is that we continue to evolve every year, every season, back to back, doesn't matter. I think as you get older and as you continue to get exposed to new things, different things, bad things, good things, your perspective starts to change and your priorities start to shift. I think that's a really important thing I learned. I feel like I always got an essence of it, but never was able to see it as clearly as I do now. But I think the biggest thing I've learned is really that there's so much more to life than this bubble I've grown up in. And I love snowboarding. I really do. And that's why I do it. But I think learning so much more about myself, seeing so much duality in myself, seeing how I'm a different person when I'm home as opposed to when I'm on the mountain, seeing that there are other things that I love and that I'm passionate about, like designing, with ROXY, my collections and all of that. It's been so fun. And I think really just tapping into that and dipping my toes in new things, whatever has been exciting for me, has been really positive, like positive reinforcement in my life. So I think that's the biggest thing I've learned.
What do you feel like you're still learning and what you may be still struggling with?
Everything. I was talking about this to somebody, but I do think that the best way to impact, especially for me, it's been young women or like my peers, really. I think the most impactful way to do that is to be vulnerable and to be honest, because I grew up in an era of social media. I think I downloaded Instagram when I was 13. And so that's kind of the world I grew up in. And I think over the years as a teenager too, that's when it really started to pick up and people were really posting everything they were doing. And I think it's been so easy to be influenced by, me personally, I noticed it was so easy to be influenced by these people who seemingly live these perfect lives constantly and not showing the realness behind it. And then I end up feeling terrible because, I'm having a bad day, but here's this other gorgeous, talented, woman having the best day of their lives. So I feel like for us as athletes, it's important for us to show what hard times look like, because truly we have more bad days than good. When I'm training on the mountain, I'll have one good, really good day out of 3 or 4. I think showcasing that and being honest about that is really impactful, which is what I always try to do. So yeah, sometimes, I get pissed off. I get pissed off when I have a bad day. I go up there with intention. I go up there with a goal. And if I can't achieve that, it's going to drive me crazy, because why did I just shed literal blood, sweat, and tears on this terrible day? That's the biggest thing I've been struggling with. The theme really is just my emotions and how emotional I get and how frustrated I get. And it's something I've been trying to work on. But then there's another side of me that's kind of why, I think I constantly fight myself. Why? I should be frustrated. Anyone would be frustrated in my situation. No one could handle this with a level-headed coolness. And if they can, then good for them, but I can't. That's not me. I think that I grow through experiences. That's not going to happen through a shift. I know that my morals are aligned. I know I'm a good person. That's the biggest thing for me, but I'm allowed to feel all the things I want to feel. I'm allowed to be angry. I'm allowed to be upset. Those feelings are valid, because if I wasn't feeling those things, I think that would be a problem as well. That means that my love and my passion is gone and I should just quit at that point.
Relatively speaking, the sport of snowboarding is actually kind of newer out there. And so then for women in general, it is still, relatively new as well. What's the change that you've seen to that landscape since, you were younger and starting to now, and the shift of that landscape overall? Have you felt like you've witnessed that change for women?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of women out there. And it's been really cool to see. I think that women are always so good at banding together, like you said. Are so good at supporting each other, especially in a male-dominated sport or space. We're always there for one another because we understand what it's like to be in these environments and be in these types of spaces that are dominated by men. I think it's, first of all, the cool thing I've been seeing is my collection is everywhere. Like, it's been so crazy, especially when I'm in Switzerland.
Do you just spot it everywhere on the mountain too?
Everywhere. I'm like, wait, oh my God, like that, I made that. Like, we did that. Like, that's so cool. I think it's been really cool just to see that alone, like seeing again, like women supporting me and like ROXY supporting me. But on another scale, there have been a lot of women, and it's always cool too, because I feel like I always end up on the chairlift with like a really badass girl. Like one time I was on Mammoth on the chairlift, and this girl was like boarding alone with her headphones in. Like, she was so cool. She's like, yeah, like, want to get some laps? I was like, for sure. So we took some runs together. So cool. She had no idea who I was, but I was like, for sure, because I was riding by myself. My family was slowly waking up, so they were gonna meet me a couple hours later. So I just took some runs with her. But I was like, how cool is it that nowadays that's how people are making friends on the mountain? They feel so safe with other women. And how cool would it be if that was my first time snowboarding, or that was my experience? I was truly by myself, and this really cool, like, other woman comes up to me and like wants to take laps with me, and we're having great conversation, and I'm making friends, learning so much about her. What a safe space. I love that. I love how women make everything so inclusive and so friendly.
You're seeing lots of women on the mountain now too. Is that something you're seeing through the years of your time in that, like the percentage of men to women grow, and maybe the levels, have they started to even out a bit more from what you've seen, or do you feel like there's still more work to be done?
I think snowboarding at its core is very inclusive. I think it's the people that sometimes might not make it that, I'm thinking people who are interacting with first timers. But, when it came to me and like my snowboarding and the environment I was in, we're always playing games of snow, girls, boys, trying to do the same tricks. Like, it was always that. And I feel like the guys I grew up snowboarding with were always so motivating for me and always pushed me to be better. And I definitely want to give credit to them as well, because I think, I just had to look at them and see that these things were possible. I had to see back-to-back tens were possible. And I just think that those guys that I was around, like, must have had very loving and supportive, like, mothers, had similar experiences with their moms, with me, to be able to treat a young girl well, even if I was better than them sometimes. But I think that there definitely have been a lot more women on the mountains. Even messages I get on Instagram, it's a lot of like women that are snowboarding and out there and being like, I started snowboarding because of you. So I even think that alone, we're definitely adding a lot of women to the snowboarding population.
And with that new wave, that new generation, how do you feel about those that have joined the sport because of you, coming that next generation? What do you feel like is the future of female snowboarding?
Oh yeah, I feel great about it. They're all really, really good. I'm actually taking a couple under my wing right now. I think the best thing I can do is be a mentor. I might not be the best at it because it's kind of my first time doing this, taking on this role. I feel like I got promoted. But it's been really fun. I think I've really started to see the impact I've been able to make. There's this young girl on the US snowboarding team, and she's 17. And it's so crazy because I kind of worked with her for a week and she just got so good. I'm helping her. Like, I want her to be great. So I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. You're incredible. But also I'm like, oh shit. Like, but it's all jokes at the end of the day. I've accomplished everything I've wanted to. I've checked every box off on my snowboarding to-do list, goals list, dreams list. So everything now is just cherry on top, lots of cherries on top. So I think I'm coming to snowboarding with a different approach, and they're starting to check those boxes now. I'm kind of going the route of, I want to make more history. I want to do more tricks that haven't been done before, but that takes a lot more, risk, maybe not landing runs, maybe not this, maybe that, but I'm okay with making those sacrifices because my goal is so much greater than that. And it's really fun to see how now the next generation, it was kind of like my age when I started checking those boxes off, was now they're aiming towards that too, getting their first big podiums, winning their first contests. Like, seeing all of those little things happen for them and how much drive and how it fuels them inspires me so much, because honestly, it kind of feels like it's been a while since I felt that, and like felt that accomplishment and felt like, hell yeah. So being able to see it in their eyes actually inspires me as well.
Last question to all of this. What do you want to tell those that are just starting out and want to follow in your footsteps? What would maybe be a couple of takeaways that you want them to maybe keep in mind if they really want to become the greatest snowboarder of the world?
I always say, like, don't give up. That's the biggest thing. It's like, it's so easy to just want to stop after a really bad day or a really bad 5 days in a row. And I think that sometimes on those hard days, it's really easy to get in your head and think, like, this is just happening to me. Like, why is this happening to me? This never happens to Chloe. This never happens to so and so. Like, this never happened to Torah. That's not true. We all have terrible days. I've seen everyone have terrible days, and everyone's seen me have terrible days. It's not just you. You're seen, like, this is part of the process. And I will say, after those hard days, they more than likely will be followed by an incredible day, like the best day you've ever had. And you'll get that love back. So essentially, I would say you're signing up for a very toxic relationship, but it's fun. It's a love-hate, like, you'll be like, I'm terrible. And then the next day you're like, I can't believe I was able to accomplish that.
Hello, my name is Vahine Fierro. I'm 24 years old and I'm from Tahiti and I'm a professional surfer. And today I would love to introduce the woman that inspires me every day since the first day I'm here on Earth. And she's a very kind, a very loving, a very passionate and determined person. That is my sweet mom.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be the chosen one who inspires my daughter. It's an honor. It means I'm doing a good job.
My mom definitely knows who are, my role models and people that inspires me. But for Women's Day, the only person that really deserved to be picked was my mom. My mom is part of a family of 9 kids. She has 8 siblings, so she's a very family oriented person, I think. And her whole life was a school teacher. She lived in Huahine on our island. She loves surfing. She loves being in the garden, being connected to nature, having her hands in dirt. And she also has this spiritual life, I think, guided by faith, by God. So she's a very well-rounded person. And since I'm born, I think that she's my best friend. If I can name our relationship, I would say that she's my best friend. She's always influenced me to be very honest, to be very kind. My mom always devoted so much time to her family, to her parents, her siblings, and that inspired me for a lot of different things in my life, of how I devote my time. Because when my mom does something, she, puts her head down and goes all the way to the end. So that really, I think that's the character that she kind of implemented into me. And I also, I think, feel very safe. Like, my mom is a great listener. She's always here to listen to what I have to say, whether it's during good situations or harder situations. And she always, kept me safe from anything, from people's opinion, from what I'm doing in my life. I always felt like I could be myself. And I think that that's because she's that way.
Yeah, she summarized everything. I think that me and Vahine, we have a special relationship because it started, like she said, I come from a big family and we're a very oriented family relationship. We start with love. I got a lot of love from my parents, so I just reproduce the same thing that I had. So I transmit my love to my kids too, just like my parents gave it to me. I think it's really important, the love that you give to your kids, and then you pass on and gives the great person that Vahine is right now.
Oh yeah, and it's also something I forgot to mention, but my mom is very proud of where she comes from. And we come from Tahiti, a place where the culture is very important, whether it's the language, the food that we eat, the sport that we do, and also this, the spiritual connection that we have within nature, within God. Like that's all part of our culture, of our Tahitian culture. And I think that that influenced a lot in my sport, in my character, in my personality. Like since I'm 6 years old, I always had, twice a week I had Tahitian dancing classes, and every day after school we would go surf. So since baby days, like there was days where I didn't want to go surf. I just wanted to maybe stay in front of the TV and watch cartoons or do things that kids would normally do, at school. And my mom and my dad, but especially my mom, would be the one pushing me every day after school to go surf, and twice a week go to dancing class. So she's a very athletic and sport person, and so that influenced me since the youngest age to be interested in sports, to be passionate about the sport, and be proud also to have dancing, to be able to go surf, and yeah, so
For Tahitian people, they're very proud of their culture. So I wanted to make sure that my kids will keep on going with all the traditional stuff that we like, the food, the traditional food, like the sport, like surfing is part of the culture, Tahitian culture, and the dancing and making stuff out of coconut tree. So it's really important for me that my kids would do that. It gives something else to the kids that makes them what they are right now. So, and Vahine is really proud of that. And part of the culture too is the most important is the language. In the beginning, they were kind of like, oh, they didn't really care about speaking Tahitian, like, but now they thanking me that I was talking to them in Tahitian a lot, and now they can speak the language because we're losing the language slowly. So I want to make sure that that keeps going. And
yes, it's true. Like my mom, she's someone that's always been very supportive. I feel so comfortable telling her everything. I feel like that's so special because some relationships with mom and daughters sometimes can be difficult. And I think that my mom, since we're babies, she always been very honest with us and told us if that's wrong, if we're scared, give it all. Like she's always been very supportive. And sometimes we wouldn't really understand when she would want us to go to the garden and ask us to get 10 bags of dirt, and it was so annoying and we were so annoyed by her, and we would never understand. We would always say, we're not your slaves, like we don't, you can do it yourself. But she always thought further for us, and guided us, and guided us into good things, into things that we can use for our entire life, and to be proud of. She was so proud to, show us how to plant our own fruits, our own vegetables. She was so proud to teach us our language when we thought that it was almost embarrassing to speak our own language. And so she's always kind of broke certain barriers that we had in our heads. And so she taught us that, and then now we realize how precious and how important all those little things that she taught us. My mom is a very short person, but she has a big mind. When I get into something, I have an open mind on different things. And my mom is like that. She's very open, but also when she starts something, she goes from start to finish. That influences my character and in my sport every day. Like that, she reminds us every day that when you start something, you do it the best you can, and as far as you can.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna tell my mom something that she probably never heard, and thinking about it makes me laugh so hard. So when I was a teenager, like around 12, 13, I was so afraid of big waves, and I would never go out. So we have like this break where there's a little wave in the inside and a bigger break on the outside, and my best friends would always be on the outside, and I was terrified, and my mom was so mad at me. She would always tell me, why don't you go out, like go further out, like go with your friends. And I was so scared. And today I'm one of the biggest barrel rider as a woman in the surfing world. I probably, paddling at Teahupo, I probably caught the biggest waves. And my mom, every morning when I call her and I tell her, okay, I'm going to go out. It's pretty big at Teahupo. Like, I'm going to be going out. And she's like, oh, no, no. She never likes it when the waves are too big because she gets scared. And I always think about her when I go out because I'm like, you always wanted me to go surf big waves. So here you go. All my barrels are named after her because she always pushed me to go out, to go outside, to go bigger and bigger. And now she's telling me not to. So I kind of name, my barrels for my mom. So yeah, I think that's kind of a surprise.
Yeah, it's true. But when she tells me that she's in Chopo and she wants to go and ride big waves, I'm kind of like scared that she might hurt herself. But inside of me, I'm happy that she's pushing herself. And the funny part is now, when we go surfing, she's the one who tells me, why don't you go further? And I'm the one who gets scared, and she's always like pushing me. And I make progress when she's there. Like I never go left. And like just last month, we went to the left, and I pushed myself, and she said, "Mom, you're gonna go left." And I went, and I was so proud of myself. I caught the best waves of my life on the left. So we push each other, and that's why we have such a special relationship.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Like, it's so true. I forgot about that. You went left and that it was kind of her first time going left and it was pretty big. She didn't want her to go and I told her, you have no choice. You're going and I'm sure that you're going to have the best time of your life. And that inspires me too. My mom she doesn't need to go left, and she pushed herself. She knew how, probably how proud and how good it would feel after that. And that inspires me because I see her doing something that she's so uncomfortable and she did it. And everything I do in life, some things are scarier than others, some are very uncomfortable, and sometimes just pushing a little bit more, it makes you feel so much, good about yourself. And it's kind of give and take. Like my mom gives, I give back, and it's back and forth. So
Exactly. Yeah, so we were just talking about pushing each other. Yeah, of course, Vahine inspires me a lot. I'm so proud of her. She pushes herself. She has a stronger personality. She's special. That's why she is inspiring me. She always does stuff that people don't do. Not many people go at 3 in the morning climbing a mountain for a hike just to see the sunrise. Our relationship is so special that it keeps growing and gets better and better and better.
my mom always made me feel loved. Whether I'm
Yeah.
whatever I'm doing in life, I know that whether it's good or bad, I would always, if no one likes it, I know that my mom would love it. As long as I knew my mom loved me, I knew that I was doing something right. Yeah, like she said, it's like such a good cycle of positive things, of new lessons, of new adventures, like all the time. It's like a snowball effect, like it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And in a way, we're sharing it through my, my career, through my experiences, the lessons. Like I don't really know how to say it, but in a way, we're influencing people without even, necessarily trying, but just by being ourselves and giving our best every day, doing something with love and kindness and a lot of passion. If I can do that to others, well, like I said, the job is done.
One thing about Vahine too that it inspires me, that she likes to make people around her happy, and she's always positive too.
Sometimes I
So
call my mom crying,
I
and
love
then
it.
when I'm feeling a little bit down, and then she like, brings me back up and finds, a shift. Like
Yeah.
she shifts the way I'm seeing things, and she always has this perspective. She can shift the way you're seeing things, and you can do that with everything in life. For example, right now I'm in Portugal, and yesterday I had this surf where it was freezing cold, and I did not want to go out. And the whole time I could have been like, oh, this sucks, it's too cold, my feet are frozen, the wetsuit is too tight, like it's just, but I thought about home. I thought about how, my mom would see things, and she would say, well, it's good for training. You're training in cold conditions. You're training where the city contest is. There's so many good things about me going out in freezing cold water. And I felt better. I felt lighter. I started surfing better. So my mom taught me that.
If I have advice to give to the young generation of athletes, is just to do what your heart tells you, to do what you love to do. Never do something because other people do it. That's what I always tell my kids. So if you want to get the gold, you just do it from the beginning to the end. Even if it's hard, as Vahine, she's sometimes it's not always pink. There's like up and downs, but I think that if you work hard for it, you will get your gold one day.
Sometimes I think about what advice I could give myself to my younger self. Your path is written, and whatever you're going through is meant for you, is what you have to go through. Hold on to what you love, hold on to the people around you, hold on to that goal that you're looking for, and hold on when it gets hard, because all you want to do is break down or give up. Or it's so easy to give up. It's so easy. It's much easier than to keep going, because life is made, of a lot of surprise, of things that we never expect to happen, because the reward of going all the way to the end is priceless. That's how you become yourself. That's how you discover yourself as well. And
Yeah, and if things don't go your way, if it goes wrong, it always happens for a reason. It's either to teach you a lesson or to make you even better. So you grow and then you get better and better and to get to your goal. That's what I always tell Vahine when things don't go her way. And it happens a lot. So you have to be strong to do to be an athlete, to achieve your dream.
c'est bon.
Okay,
Bye,
bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you so much to everyone for listening. Let us know what you'd like to hear in upcoming episodes by hitting us up on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. We'd love to hear from you.